Hey guys, it's New Year's Day and I'm really excited for 2021. Let's be honest, it can't be any worse than 2020, can it? I'm feeling really excited and really positive for the new year and the new start. I've just stood in dog shit. Happy New Year to your mother. My name's Steve, this channel is Frags Riches. Thank you for tuning in. So this is my first video of 2021. I was all excited for a brand new year, new start, and we're already in lockdown, so got nothing better to do than film a video. This video is a tag video, so I was tagged by Javier at the awesome channel Fragtastico. Go and check that channel out. Javier's visuals are sharp as fuck. They're like they look really good. His videos are always so crisp, so clean. They look really good, and he's got some great content as well on there. So do go and check out his channel. So he tagged me to share my 3 fragrances from 2020 that surprised me the most. So let's get on with it. So being surprised is all about expectations, really. It's kind of what you're expecting and what you get, and if those two don't match, you're probably going to be surprised, either good or bad. So with that in mind, I want to start with an honourable mention, and I want to mention Egyptian Seduction from Alexandria Fragrances. If you saw my first impressions video of this, you'll see why this was surprising to me, because I really was not expecting to like this at all, based on the blurb. The blurb is like quite full on, so just to kind of read some of it here, it says, become the centre of attention with the magical powers of sweet aged oud and pheromone imposing musk, tamed by the amazing sandalwood and the beaches of India. It's fresh spices and crisp rose. If you're not ready for attention, days of performance, heavy in your face sexiness, then this is not for you. Not for the faint of heart. Word of advice, go easy in the trigger and be ready to get uninvited attention. So quite frankly, I was, not only did I have a semi when I read that, I was also quite scared to press the trigger on this. I thought this was going to be this really intense, kind of stinky but probably quite sweet oud, but kind of almost like, I don't know, oud wood on steroids with rose, and I wasn't sure if I was going to like it at all. But I was really pleasantly surprised. I actually sprayed some on just before filming this video, just to remind myself, and the opening is really nice and clean and quite floral, so you definitely get the rose, but it's not like really rose heavy. It just comes across as quite a sort of floral with a touch of earthiness to me, and it's really quite a nice sort of clean fragrance that you could easily wear for work, and it is definitely kind of noticeable, but it's just not what I was expecting at all. So I was really surprised by this. The only thing I would say is when it dries down, for me it loses some of that magic from the opening. The opening was a bit of a kind of wow, this is surprising, and I really enjoyed it. But when it dried down, it's still very nice, but it gets a little bit more earthier still, and the oud is not strong, but it does kind of is there, it's noticeable, and it just lost some of the magic from the opening for me. But still a nice fragrance, but not kind of magical, so it didn't make my top 10 Alexandria Fragrances video, which I did recently. In at number 3 in my top 3 most surprising fragrances from 2020 is this. It's Givenchy's Gentleman Braze. I think that's how it's pronounced. This is actually a sample from a secret scent box that I received, and I was again not expecting much from this, because I've smelt a few from the Gentleman range from Givenchy, and I've always sort of been a bit underwhelmed. I kind of think they're quite good fragrances, but never really excited me or tickled me much. Not a big fan of kind of vetiver. I think it was the EDP that I tried once that was just really strong and overpowering, and the wife really didn't like. So yeah, I really wasn't expecting much from this at all, but I think this is a great flanker. I was really surprised. It's actually on my wrist. So this is a very kind of woody fragrance. I think that's what Braze actually means, but it's got the addition of iris. So this comes across as a very lovely, clean, like the iris and the kind of woods blend really nicely together to give it a lovely, clean, manly fragrance. But I mean, this is easily kind of unisex from that iris. That just, it's really nice. The opening is magical. The dry down is not quite as nice as the opening, but I do still think it's very good. And I tell you how good this is. My wife actually, I did a side-by-side with this and Prada L'Homme, so another, obviously, one of my favourite iris-based fragrances there. And my wife actually preferred this one. And you know what? I think I do too, which is fucking surprising. I haven't actually made this clear yet, but this list is fragrances that I've smelt in 2020. They're certainly not all been released in 2020, but you've probably kind of picked up on that already. Number 2 for me has to be Yves Saint Laurent, Le Nuit de l'Homme, Le Parfum. This has obviously been hyped a lot. All of the kind of Le Nuit de l'Homme fragrances have. And I was so bitterly disappointed with it. I came really close to blind buying it, and it still holds its money really well. It's like 60, 70 pounds. I was so close to pulling that trigger, but fortunately somebody in one of the fragrance groups actually sent me like a little decant of bottle that he didn't want because he didn't really enjoy it that much. He'd had it on his shelf for years. So there's a bit in there, and I was so disappointed. I still to this day wonder if that fragrance has maybe gone off a little bit, because some people seem to be getting something different to what I got and what he got. Because to me, it wasn't a bad fragrance. It was just very generic, very generic shower gel, like a spicy shower gel fragrance that I was just so underwhelmed with. I didn't get any of this kind of cacao chocolatiness that I think George the Fragrance Apprentice has mentioned. I was just thoroughly disappointed from that fragrance. I really was expecting to love it, and I just didn't at all. For me, definitely not one of my favourite Le Nuit de l'Hommes, probably my least favourite, in fact. So yeah, really disappointed on that one. The last fragrance on this list is a fragrance that I've written off, to be honest. I'd written off the whole fragrance line based on the notes, which I'll get onto in a moment. The only reason I actually smelt this one is because Barry at the channel Sensualize had sent me some samples, so shout out to Barry for doing so. And it's only because of that I actually smelt this fragrance and realised just how good it is. I'm talking about Guerlain's L'Homme Ideal, the EDP version. This fragrance is an absolute banger. Now, the reason I've written it off is because it's based on the notes. So the whole line, I've never really been into almond as a note. Same with kind of heliotrope, often gets compared to almond as well. So I've never really found any fragrances with almond in that I actually like, to be honest, and I particularly enjoy. So I've written pretty much the whole line off based on that. And then also this particular one, if I'd seen the notes with almond and cherry, I would have just thought, no, this is kind of not for me. But this works really well, and I was so surprised by it that after smelling Barry's sample, I used all that up. I had to buy a full bottle, and you can see that I've actually done a big old dent in this one. It just smells really good. So it's got the sweetness from the cherry, the almond is there, but it's not all encompassing. It doesn't take over to me. It's kind of there, and it works quite nicely, and it complements the rest of the fragrance. And then with the leather in there as well, that kind of, I mean, this could easily be worn by a woman from the sweetness from that cherry, but the leather does give it just balance it out a little bit and give it a slightly kind of manlier edge, just to kind of balance the fragrance. And it just works really well. Really enjoy this. I was really surprised just how good this is, and when I was testing this, I just wore this daily for like about a week and a half, nearly 2 weeks. I just kept wearing it. I was really enjoying it. I kind of fell in love with this fragrance. So yeah, my most surprising fragrance from 2020 has to be L'Homme Ideal, the EDP version from Guerlain. So before I wrap this video up, I suppose I better tag some other people to do it, better I? That's kind of how a tag video works. Now, I'm not going to lie, over the last month or so, I've not watched many fragrance videos. I've sort of had a nice little break from it, enjoyed the holidays, so I don't know who's done this tag and who hasn't. So I apologise if I tag you and you've already done it and I've missed the video. I'm sorry, don't shoot me. I'm going to tag Patrick at Centre Salt. I'm really enjoying his videos at the minute. They seem to be getting better and better. So yeah, go and check out his channel. He's got a really good channel, apart from his rather dodgy English accent. I think he's kind of learnt that from Dick Van Dyke or someone. I'm going to tag Chad at A Gentleman's Journey. Be intrigued to see what sort of surprised him this year. I know he gets to smell quite a lot. He buys a lot of samples, so I'd be intrigued to see what his picks are. And I'm also going to tag the guys at SoCal Scents as well. I really enjoy their stuff. And it'd be interesting to see if they were surprised by any like responses that some of their lady helpers gave on their fragrances. So yeah, those are the 3 channels that I'm tagging, but if you want to do this, by all means do it and take it on, and yeah, that'd be cool. Thank you for watching. do all that shit you're supposed to do, like, comment, subscribe and all that. You know the score by now, you're familiar with how YouTube works, and I will see you for the next video. Take care, much love.